Hello, welcome to another episode of Funk Film Reviews. And my name is Corey Funk, and now we finished the first decade of the first 10 years of the 2000 decades, which went all the way from year 2000 to 2009. And we're starting on the 2010s now. And my first film of this first decade of the 2010, and my favorite film of this year, is David Fincher's The Social Network, which stars Jesse Eisenberg, Andrew Garfield, Armie Hammer, who real life they found out some really disturbing things about the guy. Still a great movie despite all that. I'll still watch the movie despite all that, but it's a pretty messed up story. Well, not The Social Network, but the Armie Hammer thing. If you go and read it up online, I don't really want to get into it. And Justin Timberlake also is in it, and Rooney Mara, who plays Eric Albright, who the movie starts out with Jesse Eisenberg's character, Mark Zuckerberg, who eventually went on to create Facebook and all that, and he was in this movie dating Eric Albright and ends up getting into said something that said it, and then he got annoyed and he ended up made this thing online. He stayed up all night and it was called Face Mesh, rating this hot or not thing that they started following. And then all of a sudden he wanted to be part of the clubs. So he made this thing and then started this Harvard Connection, which was originally supposed to be exclusivity website. And then that turned into, then he secretly did Facebook. Despite that and all that, his one buddy, Eduardo, played by Andrew Garfield, who got a Golden Globe nomination, but not an Oscar nomination, but he should have got an Oscar nomination, where Jesse Eisenberg actually got an Oscar nomination portraying Mark Zuckerberg, which I thought Mark Zuckerberg, the character Jesse Eisenberg portrayed that brilliantly. I loved that performance. I think that movie was fantastic. And, obviously, it wouldn't be the one I'm talking about if I didn't think it was fantastic. But yeah, the writing in this film is the writing and dialogue just goes over each other, but in such an intelligent way. This movie has dialogue where it just kind of goes wow, where some movies don't use much dialogue, but they still are brilliant, like I mentioned, Lost in Translation. But this one does a lot of dialogue. Aaron Sorkin really knocked it out of the park with this film for dialogue, and David Fincher should have won Best Director. It actually took home the Golden Globes Best Picture Drama, but it should have beat out The King's Speech. Colin Firth did good in that movie, but King's Speech beating out Social Network Academy, what the fuck were you thinking? Who talks about The King's Speech anymore? Nobody talks about The King's Speech, but a lot of people talk about The Social Network, and there is a reason, because Social Network is a much, much better film than The King's Speech. It's a lot more fast-paced than The King's Speech. King's Speech there's good performances in it, but it's a slogfest compared to The Social Network. And then he starts Facebook, and then the Winklebosses, who are portrayed by Armie Hammer, both those twins are portrayed by Armie Hammer, and they end up suing Mark Zuckerberg. And then later in the film, Eduardo, which is portrayed by Andrew Garfield, also sues Mark Zuckerberg, even though they're best friends at the time. Oh, sorry about that. I just woke up. I'm still kind of... But yes, Social Network also has a brilliant score by Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, known as Nine Inch Nails. I loved Nine Inch Nails ever since I was a kid, actually. They're one of my... technically, Trent Reznor did his own thing there. But yeah, I've always loved Nine Inch Nails. And there's a reason why Trent Reznor won the original score for this particular score. It took home 3 Oscars. It took home adapted screenplay, original score, and film editing. And like I said, I think it should have took home director and picture. I actually liked it better than Colin Firth's performance but they both were good. But just the fact it beat for picture still makes me shake my head. Like, really, Academy? King's Speech beat Social Network for Best Picture. Social Network being one of the most smartest films of that decade. And like I said, my favorite film of 2010, Social Network was brilliant. It's plain and simple. It was a brilliant film. It was a double gold. And yeah, and also the Justin Timberlake did a really good job playing Sean Parker, who created Napster, and he ends up getting involved in Facebook and all that too. But yes, Social Network. I if you haven't watched it, I recommend watching it. It's a brilliant movie, and like I said, double gold. Social Network is my favorite film of 2010. That's right. This is Social Network, the first film of the 2010s, and is the best of the year 2010. I hope you guys have a good night. This has been Corey Funk for Funk Film Reviews, Double Gold Reviews. Have yourselves a wonderful day. I'll be back for 2011.